All right, we are recording. Good deal. Okay. So Tableau is great because it's got a host of wonderful help files, help videos on this default splash screen. When you bring up Tableau, you have over here where it says Discover, you got training, getting started, connecting the data. It's got a huge library of free videos that walks you step by step through a whole lot of the Tableau functions, even giving you the data files to play with, giving you the Tableau sheets, well, at least what they should look like when you're finished with the instructional video. So what I'd like to do is just kind of go through this first kind of example set. And if you look down here at Save Data Sources on the left, Tableau has one built in called Superstore, which is just a big, global conglomerate store, not unlike Walmart. And they use that kind of data set to kind of showcase a lot of the examples in Tableau. Let's see. Now you can connect to a variety of different sources. For the purposes of this class, we're just kind of getting into Tableau, so the only thing we'll be really utilizing is the Excel or our text file. But you can see here, you can connect to a plethora of files, to a server, SQL Server, Oracle, Amazon, JSON access, text file, Excel file, whatever the case may be. Which is great when you're dealing with live data, But for the purposes of this, we'll be connecting to an Excel file, which is pretty easy if you're familiar with any sort of Office. All right. So we've got global Superstore orders. Let it pull it in there. So now we have a connection to this, and it tells us we have a couple of tables here. A couple of sheets, rather. We have an order sheet, so it tells us what's on this order sheet, all the different columns. Then we have a people sheet. Now right up here, it wants to create some joins for us automatically based upon what data it's seeing. So we can let it do that, or we can just kind of leave it be, depending upon what we're trying to do. Okay. Let's see here. See if people join in and. All right, let's see who else is here. Good. Okay. So we have these sheets open. That's all we need to do from here. Now, you look down here at the bottom, we see sheet 1. And we have a couple other plus icons here that we can add things to. So for the first thing, we'll just click on orders. So orders data. All right, and we also got people data. So you see it does an inner join here, inner group, right? We should be very familiar with those types of groups right after the first 6 weeks of this class. So now when we go into the sheets area, we've got all of our items on both of those sheets over here to mess with. Now Tableau takes and organizes these, excuse me, let me turn that off. It organizes these by orders, measures, dimensions. Right. So depending upon what we're doing with this data, gives us an idea of where we can fit these data pieces. So here's all of our order stuff, everything from category to date, order ID, order priority, ship mode, ship date. You can get the idea. We have people data down here, and we have measures, right? These are numerical fields, right, that are usually going to be summed or counted or something along that line. Shipping cost, all these kind of things. We have latitude and longitude, right? So we can figure out things on a geomap if we want to. One of the neat features of Tableau. All right. Okay. So let's ask a question here. We want to take a look at total sales. So we click on sales here. Just double click on it. It's going to populate it there. Okay. So we have a sum of sales. Then we want to add something else here. Like we can say, okay, order date. We can look at sales over time very easily. The answers, we ask it a question, we get a very clean answer here. Over 2012, 13, 14, and 15, we can see our sales have gone up from 200,000 or 2 million to just over 4.5 million, right? And I see over here in the show me area, Tableau likes to do a lot of things for you. It makes it very easy. So this gave us a line chart because it makes sense given the two items we pressed in sequence. But we could go over here and do a pie. You know, we could do a bar. We could do a number of things. Just kind of up to how you want to look at the data. Go back here to the line. You can do it, and you can always do like an Alt Control Z to get back to where we were originally to kind of see what we were looking at. All right. All right. Okay. Now, if you look over here, you can see that these items here, they call them pills, right? So we have a pill for order date, which in this case, we're looking at year. You can also click that little plus sign, then we can take it out to the quarter, then we can take it out to the month, then we can go back and forth. But these pills give us a whole bunch of information, right? We can have the month, quarter, year. We can count it, count distinct, do a minimum, a maximum. We can do discrete or continuous variable. We can format, we can sort, we can do filters inside of here to even further divide the data. Same thing for sum of sales, right? We can have it act as a dimension or an attribute, use it as a discrete character. We can even do a quick table calculation. So we want to do some quick calculations on sum of sales. We can say, okay, what's our running total for these years? We even do percent difference if you want to look at the percent difference between the years, how that's changing over time. So a lot of very interesting things to look at. Okay. So we also look at raw numbers inside of here. So this just is kind of a preview of what's going on. If you wanted to, you can just get rid of these guys. You can just basically just pull anything over here you want and kind of play with it. All right. All right. Let's see here. Now, again, I showed you this show me area. So let's say you have an idea of what you want to do. So you want to look at, let's see, what is it here? We've got sales and product name or order date. So we selected a couple of things, and it shows us here in the Show Me tab which visualization that Tableau recommends we use. So we could click these and look here. Gives us an idea. Sales. We can look at that's by product, which is probably too small of an area. We could probably look at market and sales. Look at our sales by a different market. Okay. If you hover over this, it gives us, you know, the Africa, Asia, Europe, gives us our market by sales. Latin America, US and Canada, Africa. Then we can see by the gradient or the size of the shapes, that gives us some sort of value to it. So if over here in the marks, you can coordinate, okay, well, what does the color mean? What does the size of this box mean? Should we put labels on it? Sure, let's put labels. Should we have a tooltip? All sorts of things. We can kind of edit this and customize it to our liking. All right. Go back here. Clean this up. go. To a new sheet. Right. Let's see. Do the thing over here. Right. Okay. So let's take, for example, we've got market, we've got quantity, we've got category, the category of products, and we've got let's take segment. Okay. Let's get rid of show me for a minute. So here again, these are these market segments, and we've got the category of furniture as well as the segment of furniture. We can pull these out so you can see these a little better if you want. And we've got quantity down here. So kind of see how our products are doing in certain global markets. So to make this a little more visually appealing, we can take and utilize the color. Let's see here. Oh, we need to take market, bring it down here. And now we can color the markets a different color, and then we have a nice little legend over here. So you can easily see what color these markets are going to be. Okay. So now, the nice thing about this is you click on one of these bars, you can always drill down, you can exclude, you can filter right in place. You can get some more individualized detail about it. Right. It takes us there. Right. Okay. All right. Again, let's do this again. We've got, so let's do sales again. This time we'll look order date by year and quarter. All right. Shows us again how we're doing year over year. We can get rid of the year here. And let's take year and put it down here in the marks. So now we have all of our years together in one spot, and then we can separate it by color again, make it very distinct and easy to look at. Let's say, okay, maybe quarter is a bit too much. We can take this down and look at it by month if you wanted to. And you can sort of see some sort of seasonality effects. You know, as far as sales are concerned, we have a spike here in June, right? A little dip in July, and then an upward trend over here. Also do some quick table calculations. Now we can look at year-over-year growth. Wanted to? Let me do that again. A little quick here. So we know how it looks out for the month, but a lot of times we're concerned over year-over-year growth, right? How we did this year compared to how we did last year. So we can look at those months to see how we did the prior year. All right. Ultimately, we can bring sales back in here, and we have sales and percent difference in sales. So we can look kind of holistically how we're doing individually and then how we're doing overall. All right. A few more things here. I think that's enough of that. Okay, so Tableau does a great job of letting us see these things visually. Now, there's still a bit to be said about looking at things in a grid view sometimes if the question necessitates it. So for example, if we have categories, category, we've got order date. All right. Measure names, and let's do order date by I'm going to do that by the month. There you go. Month. Okay. There we go. Let's see here. Oh, order date by the month. So I continue. So here we have furniture, office supplies, technology, and we can look at, we have year, we have measure names. Okay, well, let's go over here and get our measure values. Do that. So we have a lot of stuff going on here. And here it tells us each of these little bars gives us a quantity, which probably don't want that. It'd be easier to see that in a more of a grid view. So look that up this way, because it's recommending we actually look at this in some sort of tabular measure. Let's go to that category, and we'll move our order date over here. Do that by month. Okay. I don't like that. No. That should be, there we go. Measure names and order date by month. All right. Okay. Next thing I want to look at. There we go. All right. Let's go and look at. Okay. One of the neat things about this is our latitude and longitude functionality. So if we take a longitude and a latitude, it's going to give us some interesting information based upon these. So if we go back to our data source for a moment, and look at, oh, go back and close that. Actually, I didn't like that. I didn't mean to click on that twice. Go back and look at our global superstore orders for 2016. You can see exactly what this data is that we're actually looking at with regards to the geographic stuff. Okay. Okay, here we go. Order ID. So see here, we don't necessarily have a latitude and longitude column. What we do have is a postal code, a city, state, and a country. Right? So Tableau is using these individual items to give us a generated latitude and longitude, which is neat if we're going to try to figure out where these orders are coming from, where they're going. So we can take a couple of things here. Let me look at profit. We can look at sales. We can look at, let's see here, country. And let's see. And state. Looking for state. There it is. Okay. Give it a minute to execute. Okay, so that looks a little bit jumbled, but we can work with that. So first of all, we need to look down here and figure out what we want these to look like. So let's try color for profit. That's a little cleaner. We can do size for sales. All right. So that gives us a better idea here of what's going on. So over here, it's making our legend for us. We have sum of profit. So right, so the darker it gets, the darker gradient in blue, the more profit we have. And the larger of these circles we see, larger amount of sales. So just in a very kind of quick glance, we can see our territories that are returning for us the better sales. So California, New York, United Kingdom, and we can see some emerging markets over here in the eastern part of the globe, as well as South America, maybe places we should be concentrating on. So as long as you have some sort of zip code, some state and country, you can put something together very easily with some latitude and longitude. We can, again, delve deeper into this. Go look at California specifically. We can view the data. It's going to give us a line item of profit and sales for California. It's kind of nice. All right. That's one to cover. Okay. Over here, look at sum of sales. Grab a category and a subcategory. Make a simple tabular chart. All right. Not here.
Marty, I pay for your what's it called?
Yes.
All right.
Why is it
All right. Now over here,
not right away?
let's look at shipping cost here for a minute. So we've got shipping cost and we've got profit. So we can see if there's any sort of correlation there, right, between shipping cost and profit. So let's break this down by category and customer ID. So category, let's do color. Okay. So we can see here, for our shipping cost and our profit, really kind of intersect here, is around the $200, $400, we get kind of zero profit, don't we? We can see which categories these are related to: furniture, office supplies, and technology. Which, looking at a flat file, is very difficult to discern that. But here, in 3 or 4 clicks, you're able to see, here's kind of our break-even point for these product categories and their shipping costs, right? Because it makes sense that furniture would have a relatively higher shipping cost, I would imagine. All right. Nice thing about these is you can always zoom in over here in an area. We're actually keeping those, including the rest. We can delve into these items specifically. So let's take a look at one guy here. This is customer ID AA6453. We got a profit of $54 and a shipping cost of $48. So that's kind of neat. We have it down to the customer ID, which then we can take that further and look at the actual order if we needed to. All right. Okay. All right. I will pause here for a bit. Any questions as of yet?
Hey, Brandon.
Hello, hello. Okay.
Tableau is real nice. I like it.
Yeah, it is pretty nice.
I use it in my own job, so.
Yeah. Let's see here. So that's kind of the quick and dirty getting started of Tableau. As we work into the assignments, you'll kind of need to figure out which things you need to pull from, whatnot, and so forth. Let me see something.
I'm sorry, I was late. The data source you didn't pull directly from the database. You use Excel.
Yeah, I used Excel.
Okay.
I use it's the World Global Superstore Orders Excel sheet.
Yeah.
That's available on the Tableau training website.
Yeah.
Yeah. let's see, grouping, we did marks. So let's see here. We made a couple of sheets already. And you can actually, if you want to do a kind of a dashboard, you can bring some of these sheets in together. I didn't name these or anything, but the sheets that we previously made, you can kind of throw them all on one dashboard to kind of get an idea of what's happening. Which, from a more holistic view. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Trying to see here. We did trend lines. Okay. Okay. We did that. Okay. I did have a question from a student in the discussion board I was going to go to very quickly because I thought it might help out the rest of the class. Let's see where it went. It's in here. Okay. Someone mentioned that they didn't see the discrete area. Okay. So when you're bringing in some items, you need to make sure that they're the right kind of item. So for example, let's do back here. So you see how this pill is green because it is a measure. So if it's a measure, you have the ability to make it discrete or continuous. Right? So you want to make sure that when you're pulling these pills up here, they're the right kind of pill to allow you to turn it from discrete to continuous, depending upon what you're trying to do. Of course, you can also, instead of defaultly doing this by a measure of sum for quantity, maybe you want to count distinct or do a minimum max percentile, standard deviation. It kind of depends on what you're trying to get at. But, you can make a very simple one here. Look at profit by category. Okay. So furniture, profit by category. Again, I can do that discrete, or I can do it continuous. Right? Continuous, that's not going to give us what we want. I mean, discrete isn't, but continuous gives us the actual number we're probably looking for. Right? A very simplistic example there, but still, it works. Okay. If there's no questions about this, I know this has been very quick. Right? Excuse me?
Measures of fact, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
So what I was going to do is go into Python a little bit before we end this little session. And since I know Tableau might be new for a lot of people, this is something we can always revisit on a Google Hangout later on and kind of do things for that specific week of content. Because there are some Tableau exercises that will get a little dicey as far as how to create them and which menu things to choose. Because really the hardest part is figuring out where in the menu sometimes you're looking for the option to do what you want it to do. It's not too bad as long as you know where to find things. So which Tableau, if you go back to the home screen here, the start page, it's got a great resource here. You can look at visual analytics, connecting the data, more training videos. It even gives you some sample data sources to play with. So very nice. So, and in the assignments as we move forward with Tableau, we try to put in links to the videos as much as possible, just to help you in finding those menu items and help you do some walkthroughs to help you figure out what you need to do. So we'll give you an example of what the chart would look like with some sample data, and then we give you a different data set to actually create the visualization. So it looks a little different than what you see in the assignment. It's not too bad. One thing I'll note is when we're doing Tableau exercises, a lot of what you're asked to do is provide screen captures, right? So let's see here. Go back here. Let's see. Let's see here. So if you're going to take a screen capture of, say this, now depending on how you do this, you can do the snipping tool, or if you have some sort of other ability. This is really all you need. And if there's a legend, you see what I'm pointing out right here? If you're going to do a screen capture, all this other extraneous stuff, you know, the start menu, all the stuff on the left-hand side, the Tableau menu, I don't need to see that. I just want to see the meat of the visualization, right? So that's going to kind of get in the way. You know, now if there's filters over here, if there is some sort of legend over here, I need to see that as well. Right? But don't need to see the whole screen, just the visualization itself.
Oh.
Okay. All right, now let's minimize this, and let's see, where did that go? Okay, I was going to open up Python. So, just curious, how many of y'all have installed Python on your machine yet, or are you utilizing the one on the VDA? Anybody? All right. Okay. Here. So if you haven't done this yet.
We didn't hear the question though. What was the question?
Yes. So for the Python portion of the class, we have the opportunity to install it on your own computer, or you can use Python in the VDA. I was just kind of curious if anyone had installed Python on their computer as of yet. All right. So if you look at
I tried, but it didn't work.
Didn't work. Okay. So assignment 7.2 actually has the link to go to Python. Okay, good. We got someone here that said that it worked. Okay, good. So I've already installed it on my machine, but I was just going to show you the website where to go very quickly. It's basically python.org/download. So, all right. So as long as you have Python 3.0 or 3 point something, you're fine. So here you can get Python 3.6. When we put this document together for the 7.2 assignment, it was in December, so I think it was 3.5.1 was the latest release. But as long as you have, you know, something other than 2, which, you know, you need 3, you're good to go. So Python, and you get a couple of different things here. You have a GUI, you have an idle. So you have a command line, you have the manuals that installs, all sorts of good stuff. So you can even do this in Notepad++ if you so choose to. So we look here. I open up the idle. Just give it a minute to think about it. But it looks like this, basically. This is your shell, right? And you can just type things directly into here. So, for example, print hello world from Brandon, right? Okay. Hello world from Brandon, right? Or what's 1 + 1? It's going to give us 2, right? Pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy to use. As far as the interface, now, you know, Python in itself, a language, you know, it's just like learning any other language. It's very comparable to Java. It's very easy to instantiate things. It's a nice, clean, efficient language, especially for doing data analytics, for parsing data. And what we're going to be doing with Python is first learning some rudimentary things like how to convert temperature, how to convert pounds to kilograms, And then we'll get into some interesting things with regards to parsing out text files, taking a file and running some data analytics algorithms on it, and then getting an output, doing some sort of spam analysis. So we do quite a few interesting things with Python. So it's a great tool to have in your toolbox for any sort of data scientist or data analytic professional. Everybody uses Python. Let's see here. Are there any direct individual questions regarding some of these tools or some of the upcoming assignments that you had a chance to look at as of yet? Sure. So idle, someone just posed a question, what's the difference between idle and the developing environment? So idle is kind of, you're doing it in real time. As you see, I don't have to put any sort of terminator on this, right? I can have A equals 1, B equals 2, A plus B is 3, right? It's doing it in real time, line by line, right? Now if I did something like, where is the command line, you actually have, can type this stuff out. You've got to save it as like a py file, a Python file, and then run it from the command line, right? Which takes a few more steps to do, but still, in essence, it's the same thing. Here, you're actually doing it in real time. But that being said, you can still save this as something. So I can write out a whole program here and still save it as a py file. But the nice thing about this is I can run it from here, and it has all this nice color coding to help me kind of figure out if I made a syntax error or whatnot. And debug, do a couple of neat things here. Let's see, Python. Where did it go? That was the command line. Oh, that's the older one. Okay, never mind. Yeah, that's basically the difference. Like, when you're using Java, you have the same thing. If you use something like Eclipse, where you can do it in real time, or you actually, writing your Java in a Notepad or Notepad++, and then compiling it and having to use Java C to run it, right? Just let you do it in real time. Because if you look at the assignments, what we're really looking at is, does the code run, and do we get the results we expect? So a lot of times that involves the instructors copying and pasting your code into here and making sure it runs the way it's supposed to run. So, any other questions? Okay. All right.
Professor Brandon, I have a question regarding Tableau, but when you're done with Python.
Okay. No, that's fine. I can go ahead and go to your question. How can I help you?
So I'm still looking at question number 11 from the assignment.
Okay.
So let's see, you get the data.
Right.
And can you, I know you were showing earlier, but I didn't really get it. So,
all right. So what were the data items?
No. Go back to Tableau. You were trying to show something.
Yes.
Then I can tell you. So let's say you pick up ship date.
Okay. Ship date.
And then sales.
Okay.
And so right there.
Okay.
Now, how did you get the line because you selected automatic?
Right. This is on automatic over here in your marks, so it's going to do what it thinks is best given the items that you selected. So we put the dimension in the column typically, and then the measure goes in the row, right?
Okay.
And when we do that, it's going to aggregate the ship date based upon year. So it goes up to the highest level of hierarchy, and then it defaults at sum for aggregating sales. Now you see the dimensions are blue, measures are green. So on the measures, we can change this from discrete to continuous. Can't do
Okay,
that.
so
over
let's
here.
see, you click on Show Me again, that icon
Okay.
right to the right,
Sure.
and you choose a different graph.
Absolutely. We can choose any of
okay.
these that are kind of highlighted. So this is kind
Okay. Sorry for my the
No, that's
sound
fine.
coming from.
Yeah, because it tries to give you what it thinks you want. So we did. We did sales. Yep. Sales and ship date. Or actually, other way around. Okay. Kind of depends how you want to do that. But you're right. You can take and click on any of these that are not grayed out, depending upon what kind of data it's giving you. Right. So let's see here.
So I'm using the VM. I'm not sure whether there's a delay in the response. I keep on clicking on the line graph and nothing came up.
Okay, so let's click here on.
I tried a few different times, but every
So you're
time
clicking-
the line.
Okay. You're clicking over here on the Show Me, and it's not bringing up the one that you want. Is that what you're saying?
No, it shows some of them, but line ones doesn't. The line there are 3 of them. None of the line ones show me. I don't know whether it's a delay because it's the VM.
Okay.
But you
now
say
some of these,
you just put the. Sorry, go ahead.
You put the pills up here, and then it'll give you the ones which are available given those options you've chosen. Like for here, it says I can use these first 2 lines because it's got rules here. Like the first one says for lines continuous, you have 1 date, 0 more dimensions, 1 or more measure. This one's you got to have a discrete line with 0 more dimensions and 1 measure, and then the third line graph it's got to have a dual line, so you have to have 2 measures, which we don't have here. So it won't let me utilize that Show Me. But if I grabbed another measure, let's see. Now I can utilize that second line graph. So as long as I only have one of these, 1 measure, okay, then it's only going to let me do that one Show Me. So.
Oh, I see. You need to have that many measures and dimensions in order to get appropriate graph, I guess. Okay.
Exactly. Like if you hover over this third line down here at the bottom, it shows you that it needs at least 2 measures because this is for a dual line. And same thing up here for these bars. You have horizontal bars. You need 1 measure. Stacked bar, you need 1 dimension, 1 measure. And then the side-by-side, you need 1 or more dimension or 1 or more measure, right? So you have to have at least 3 pills up there in your columns and rows in order for it to illuminate this option. So it tries best to kind of guess what you're trying to do, but it does take a little tweaking if that's not exactly what you wanted. But over here in the marks, you can do a couple of things too, where you can change this from automatic to a bar. You can change it from automatic to a circle, and try to change it if the line isn't working for you. You can put labels on it. You can put tooltips, do a little bit of coding here, put some tooltips. You can do a couple of things to kind of tweak it to get exactly what you want, that's really what Tableau is great at, is these little kind of incremental changes to kind of really kind of customize your display and your visualization.
Like in my job currently, they're doing this for a reporting tool for different people using it as well as giving information, because they can filter out information themselves and everything. So you can actually show this to other people. So it's very useful.
Yeah, it's nice. Yes, you can take a flat file and throw it all together in here and figure out, okay, well that's an interesting thing I didn't think of. That's an interesting correlation here. And the nice thing about the newer version is you can even do some statistical analysis on some of these things now that you weren't able to do previously. and some regression or some population statistics. But yeah, it's really neat. It's very pretty to look at. It's very aesthetically pleasing, which a lot of managerial types, like to have something nice to look at and something that's going to be useful. Yeah. Does that answer your question concerning the discrete?
Yes, it did. I think I didn't have enough variables. The data columns were selected.
All right. Good deal. Were there any other further questions? It's almost 8 o'clock Eastern time, so I was going to try to wrap this up within an hour. This has all been recorded, so as soon as it gets published on the server, I can put this link out on Leo for everybody. But if there's no further questions, I guess we'll call it an evening. And like I said, we're going to be playing with Tableau for the next 6 weeks. So this is something we can always come back and revisit on a concept by concept basis. This is what's kind of a very quick intro into what Tableau can do. You kind of just hit the tip of the iceberg here. But depending on what you're trying to ask and what you're trying to get out of it, lots of possibilities. All right.
Yeah, like for example, I have somebody at my job, just that whole job most of the day, just tweaking a Tableau report. So.
Yeah, that could definitely take you down the rabbit hole doing that.
Yeah, no. I told him, like, he keeps asking me, like, does this look good? I'm like, it looks fine. You did good. Post it up.
Yeah. At some point, you just gotta let it go. Most of my research has been on like data visualization, aesthetics, and how different data is best utilized by different visualization techniques, and it's a never-ending battle to figure out, okay, how should we visualize this so people can cognitively process it easier? And so at some point, you just gotta be okay with it and move on.
And just want to say, everybody, that I'm their TA or FA, or whatever you want to call it. So if you need any help, I'm available.
Yep, Isaac is great. He's here to help out. So he holds separate office hours. I've been trying to do a Google Hangout on Thursday evenings if the need is there. Perhaps with this half of the course, there might be. This usually is kind of the stickier half of the course for people. This is my 4th time teaching this class, and I think most of the time I've spent with students is during the second part of the course.
I like Tableau a lot as well. Just a caveat that you could grab a table that has a lot of columns, a lot of rows, a lot of information, and you could just put it in Tableau. One is self-document. It will automatically break it down to dimensions and measures. That by itself is really good, because then you can still use that to actually create a data warehouse if you wanted to later on.
Right, yeah, you can use that as your foundation of your data mart or whatever you're trying to do. Yeah, because it's
really nice.
It does a whole lot of processing.
I like what you compared that before. So.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying. I've been
it does a lot of the ETL for you before you have to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. Anyway. Cool.
All right. If there's no other questions or concerns, I'll go ahead and turn this off. And I want to thank y'all for joining us this evening. Hope this was useful and fruitful for y'all. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to get a hold of me or Isaac or your particular section's TA or your section's instructor, and we'll take it from there. Have a great St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. Don't forget to wear green.
True.
And y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.